In the final expense world, there are two different ways to get a policy approved for your clients. The first way is what's called a point of sale interview, and the second way is a non-point of sale interview. And in today's video, I'm going to discuss the differences and what I would suggest for experienced and new agents as to being the most optimal way to do your final expense carriers. Coming up right after this. Hey out there, it's Dave Duford from Final Expense Agent Mentor at feagentmentor.com. Thanks for watching this video yet again. Today's topic is about final expense point of sale interviews and non-point of sale interviews, and really what works best for which kind of agent. The way I'm going to describe things in this video is define both the difference between point of sale interviews and non-point of sale interviews, and really give you my personal opinion on who should do what kind at what level in their experience. So a point of sale interview is an interview that you conduct at the conclusion of a presentation to officially approve the person that you have written up as a client. A non-point of sale interview is just the exact opposite. You have written up the application and then you actually fax that in for the home office to do the approval. So what's better? Is a point of sale interview better for an agent to do, or is a non-point of sale process better for an agent? Here's what I think. If you're brand new to final expense, you need to do point of sale interviews. Now, why is that? The reason you need to do a point of sale interview is because you need to know before you go that you got the deal closed. Now, there's always exceptions to that. There's some carriers that are very functional to deal with that don't require a point of sale interview. But as a new agent, if you know you got the deal closed, you're going to feel a lot better. Your client's going to feel good. It's going to hopefully build a wall from another agent coming in there to try to take your business. So I like to do point of sale interviews for new agents if at all possible. That means their deals get closed more consistently, and that means they get paid more consistently. It's a good deal all around. So what about non-point of sale carriers? I personally, as an experienced agent, prefer a non-point of sale carrier over those who require one. Here's the main reason why. The way I operate my business as a personal producer differs greatly than what a lot of agents do. I run a ton of appointments. I buy a lot of leads. Time is something I'm always bracing against. I know my underwriting well enough because I've been in this business forever, so that I don't feel like I need to have a validation from a point of sale process to get my deal approved. Would it help? Sure, but I'm pretty confident in my own undertakings. So for me, when it comes to decision making, if the client works for either kind of policy, I'm going to go with the carrier that does not have a point of sale process. But be forewarned if you're new. The biggest problem with a non-point of sale carrier is that you could get your deal stuck in underwriting. Meaning you're going to have to get amendments signed, you're going to have to go back to the client to get everything signed and fixed. And what that process does is it takes you out of the field from finding new business to close. There's one particular carrier that will remain nameless, but they're huge in this business. They don't do a point of sale interview, and about 60% of their policies actually get stuck in underwriting before they're actually approved, if they're approved. There's a huge ratio of that business that never gets issued, and it gets stuck for all sorts of silly reasons. There was no date on the application, or they didn't include the year, or something silly like that, or it was an underwriting issue. But the point is when you have these things that prevent business from being consummated, that prevents money in your pocket. So for all intents and purposes, if you're experienced in this business and you know what you're doing, that's fine. But if you're brand new, please always preferentially select the carrier with a point of sale interview. I promise it will make your life easier. So that's it today for my final expense video. My name is Dave Duford at Final Expense Agent Mentor, and if you haven't already, please join my Final Expense No BS training newsletter. It comes out every Wednesday with all sorts of tips and tricks in the final expense business. I share my videos, I share my articles, I release lots of stuff to help you be a better final expense agent. And in return for that, I give you a lot of free stuff just for joining. Free scripts, free audio sales calls, and free appointment setting sales calls. All sorts of stuff to help you get to a better experience and better level as a final expense salesperson. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week. Take care.